this game, Conan, came out not too long ago. This was also started on Kickstarter. Monolith was the developer, published by Asmodee, and I believe we sell it in our store. Whether or not it's in stock right now, I'm not sure, but it's out there in the world. This
was a really successful Kickstarter, we should mention.
Yes, super successful. Lots of miniatures, a big, expensive game, and it had a pretty good pedigree of designers, all that kind of thing. People really liked it. Although I haven't read actually specific reviews of the game itself. Generally, I believe it's been positively received. One of Asmodee's former members of their marketing team, who left for unrelated reasons to this game, posted a blog post about issues that she had. Her name is Cynthia Hornbeck. Cynthia is not a real name. Yet, till I have a child. Cynthia Hornbeck wrote this article about her distaste for the game and how it treated people of color and women specifically, and how sort of outdated it was, and how that's tied into the original source material, which was also kind of where a lot of that comes from. And the problems that she had with that. I guess that's more or less the gist of the basics.
Well, and
right?
connecting with today's current political environment in the U.S., strictly the U.S.
And we have talked about, we've touched on subjects like this, like these slave cards in Five Tribes.
I think another time we talked about in a whole article with...
Probably. I mean, there's the Jack the Ripper thing. We've talked about Whitechapel. We've talked about people being offended by, issues in board games, topical diversity, that kind of stuff. I think this is interesting in a different way because it is based on an existing property. So part of the discussion, I feel, has to be how much can you change or should you change, and who are you trying to please with that direction, that kind of thing. She mentions H.P. Lovecraft in the article, and even other things like Lord of the Rings even is like a pretty well-known example where there's some, really any high fantasy, a lot of it from those old school high fantasy books and stories, they'll, instead of black people, it's orcs or whatever. Like, they're not super subtle about that kind of thing. And sometimes, you have to kind of look past that. Or you don't have to, but if on one level, to enjoy it as a story, you kind of try to put that away or marginalize it. But I don't know, as a game, it's interesting.
There's a lot of things to look at. It's a
complicated subject. There are layers here.
So look at the picture you set. I mean, it pretty much has...
Yeah, you can see that behind us. It's pretty... there's a dude standing over a pretty much naked woman
who's knocked out.
Yeah, who's unconscious, seemingly.
And there's a lot of problems that we have. Supposedly the stories are very similar, and like in the scenarios. And this is where some points I don't know if I can agree with and not. Like, I agree that there's probably sexism in this, but for example, one of the points she said is the princess is an object, like literally a token or something you can throw. I'm like, yeah, but when I played Zombie 3D Tower, I threw random people in fires and or when we play Descent, we've done the same thing with both male and female. So I feel like having something as a token isn't as bad. But the idea of for example, so then she brings up the characters you can play, which I think she mentions how the one female, at least this is excluding the Kickstarter exclusives, was literally only a support role, which is kind of a big deal. I think that's a bit more. I mean, there's the woman is her only purpose, quoting the article, was to make men feel better.
Right. Right.
Which is an issue. And then, but the counter argument is the source material, which then brings in the question: do you A, never touch the source material? Should it pretty much anything from probably 1920s when this was written? B, change it so much that it doesn't, or maybe even make flip it in essence, or make the Conan, so to speak, maybe make him a woman or a person of color, almost do what Marvel did, with Captain America now as a black man and
for instance, in the Robinson Crusoe game, you have every character has a female side to them,
right?
Even though in the story of Robinson
Crusoe. That's another option. What if you didn't it's a Conan game, but no one plays as Conan or this? You're all just people in the Conan universe, but that doesn't. In the end, that also doesn't answer the question with the enemies. The enemies, this was written, we looked this up, 1930?
37 or something.
37?
Like that, I believe,
the two big enemy groups pretty much are, designed to be Native American and Asian, I believe?
Something, yeah.
And they sort of tried to like make them less human, so it wasn't as racist in the game. But I mean, they're still like it's sort of like looking at World of Warcraft and like looking at a Tauren, like. Yeah, it's a bull. It's a minotaur, but it's got feathers and like it's still Native American. Like
it's also, I mean, it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But it's almost worse to say, well, we're making them less human, so it's okay. Oh, well, that sounds pretty bad too.
Which he does also bring up. So
Right.
it's definitely, and well, I think one of the best answers is what she says is vote with your dollar. Don't buy or support a game that you feel crosses the line for you.
Yeah, I'm kind of conflicted about it because, like, yeah, I mean, you should definitely observe that. And I think it's important to discuss it and have that out in the open and not to pretend like there's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with that image,
right? But I kind of like, well, if the female characters in the original Conan were just support characters. I don't know that you should invent things to fix it. I don't know that you shouldn't, but I don't know that you should have to.
Well, I think part for you, it seems, and I think for a lot, is this inner argument of whether the morality of these people are not being transpired. Granted, it was, like I said, 1930s, but in a very positive light. While at the same time, there's this very strong urge, in particular because I think also because you're a movie buff, of people taking the source material.
Right,
and
purists. Oh, I see. No, the opposite of purists.
Well, you're a purist.
People who get mad about it.
And you're right. Mad when it's just the idea of someone ruining it for such a.
It's a tricky issue. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it just happened with Doctor Strange and the Marvel. You know, they changed an Asian character into a white character who was like the Asian character in the original comic was pretty racist.
Original Marvel comics are not.
Yeah, it's like how much are you changing? Like it's really like I haven't read the Conan stories, so that's the thing I can't really comment on.
Neither of us have.
Because it could just be so ingrained in that material that if you changed it a little bit, it wouldn't even be recognizable as Conan anymore.
Right, it becomes what's the name of that?
It's George of the Jungle. I don't know.
I was thinking that French cartoon
Asterisks and Obelix. So it's a really tough thing as a creator because no matter what, you're annoying one group at least. There definitely is probably a middle ground. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I don't have it. I don't have really an opinion on what's right and what's wrong in this case. I really don't know. Like I'm kind of up in the air about. I mean, I certainly support. The one thing I know is that I think it's important whether the game exists as it does or not to discuss these things. And I think that's the bigger issue is like just as long as you're aware of those things and if you still play it and enjoy it, that's okay. Just be mindful of it and its impact on you, I think.
Well, I think in the end it comes down to two things. Either A, the developers making new games. That's the hard. We're actually arguing from their point. And I think that's the challenge and that's the hard one. Though for probably a good chance a lot of the viewers are probably just on the consumer end. If you the issue here, the best thing to do is to vote with your dollar. You know, don't buy the game, don't support it, don't talk about it, I guess, or do talk. That one's weird because sometimes bad press is good.
Right.
But have the discussions, I guess, and support games. Maybe like do something like you said, Robinson Crusoe, where you literally flip the tile and it's just a female-male version of whatever the job is. And
we said there's so many Lovecraft games, and there are some kind of oddly racist things in some Lovecraft stories, and because there's so much of it, most of the Lovecraft games they just pick and choose, like they just ignore those parts.
Well, also because one of those things that's grown so much, it's like because it's not just Lovecraft's works, all these other people's
it's like
works,
a whole mythology now. I don't know. It's a tricky thing. If anyone out there watching has played the Conan game, and especially if they've read the Conan stories, I'd love to hear your actual thoughts on it. I'd be interested. I wonder if I played it, if I would even think about this without having read this article. I don't know. Find out. Decide for yourself. Go play Conan or don't if you feel strongly that it's not a good game.